The uncomfortable truth that a lot of people don't want to admit is that hate speech legislation is a front for political persecution, for the persecution of people with unpopular opinions that don't fit in with the agenda of the people who designed these hate speech laws. A police officer knocks on your door and informs you that you've been charged with incitement to hatred against the trans community. Why? Because you retweeted an article that was critical of transgender operations for young children. You think this is fanciful? Not at all. This is a very realistic scenario that could occur under the Hate Offences Act that has just been passed in the lower chamber of the Irish Parliament. It is now under consideration in the Senate. Hate speech laws are a travesty of law and a corruption of the legal system. They essentially become a front for political persecution because they identify certain groups in society and they immunize them from hard-hitting criticism by drawing a boundary around them and saying that if anyone incites hatred against them, they will be criminally liable. Now, on its face, it might seem reasonable to make incitement to hatred illegal. But the reality is that in a robust political debate, passions will rise high, and occasionally hatred will rise in the hearts of people. But the speaker cannot control the reaction of other people to his or her hard-hitting words. Sometimes the truth hurts. And occasionally, when you make an argument in the public square, some citizens will be moved to feel hatred towards some group in society. That is the nature of political debate. Now, just to show you how one-sided and how politicized hate speech legislation is, if in response to an article that I wrote, for example, critical of transgender operations for children, I was accused by a member of the trans community of being a transphobe, of being a bigot, of being regressive, and of not deserving a place in society, I could not prosecute them under hate speech legislation for the simple reason that I don't belong to one of the categories or groups that are protected under that legislation. The uncomfortable truth that a lot of people don't want to admit is that hate speech legislation is a front for political persecution, for the persecution of people with unpopular opinions that don't fit in with the agenda of the people who designed these hate speech laws. Honestly, I can hardly believe I'm even making this video, and I can hardly believe that the vast majority of the lower house of Ireland's Parliament passed this law with a paltry 14 dissenters, 14 dissenting votes in a parliament of 160. What does that tell you about the quality of our parliamentarians?